guys, that's Chimera Legends. Welcome to the video. Send us some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you're going through something and you need it out there today. How you guys doing, by the way? I'm doing pretty damn good myself. I'm reading Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. I'm almost done with this epic novel, and I love it. I'm not a Western guy. I'm thinking about getting my kiddo a Switch 2. I don't know. What would you do if you were me? Would you spoil your... I did not grow up spoiled at all. But now I err on the side of spoiling, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't want to be like that, but I can't help it. I'm such a sucker. I'm such a softie. Anyway, he wants to Switch 2, and I can make him wait till his birthday, which is already generous, right? Like, I never got game systems for my birthday, right? I had to go to my friend's house growing up. So I could get it for him right now, immediately, or I could make him wait 4 months, or I could not get it at all.
Wait a minute.
What would you do? What would you guys do? Anyway, today, this is actually my favorite kind of video to make, because watching a video like this, for me, would help me tremendously. So hopefully it will help you guys too. And I say this like in real time. I just pulled off my own personal best score in Chimera. And granted, stupid pay-to-win team or whatever, but look at that. 859 milli, right? Like, not bad with 9 trials. And then on Nightmare, I got 11 trials with 855, right? And really, what made the difference is, for me, I used to score like 650 to 700 million. And I made one change, a blessing, change on this team. And all of a sudden, my damage went way up. And it's insane, right? So I'm going to give you 10 of my, and I'll point this tip out as we go. I'm going to give you 10 of my best tips to really min-max your damage, to get more from your champions, no matter who you have, no matter who you are, no matter how developed your account is. Some of these tips can help you, right? Not all, because I'm going to start with probably the most end-gamey, I guess, of the tips. But it's all about, we talk about this all the time here, but it's all about trying to min-max your damage in raid, right? So, like, that means stacking damage multipliers or escalators in addition to your regular damage, right? That's how the game has evolved over the last couple years especially, and it continues to do so. So the two obvious examples of this, right, are champions that I run on my team that we just saw, right? And these are champions in 9-piece protection and 9-piece feral. Again, I know this is hard to pull off, but I'm going to start with the more end-gamey tip here. This is huge. This is huge. The type of champions you want to put in 9-piece protection are champions with, best case scenario, 3 buffs in their kit, right? Ideally, 3 buffs on the same ability, right? And you can do that through continuous heals. Like Senna has this ability where she brings 2 continuous heals and 1 increased speed. But even 2 buffs is cool too. You can put it on your Lydia, for example, right? So this, just having the 9-piece, is going to give you a 75% chance of having a protected buff, but allies will deal 5% more damage for each buff placed by the wearer. It's also my favorite set, for Sify the Lost Bride, right? I run her in the arena with also a 9-piece protection for different reasons, because of the protected buffs, but it still helps with the damage, right? And then, of course, the second example is feral, right? So feral is in feral on my account, right? Because he already has damage escalation on his passive anyway, which is nice, right? But of course, with a 9-piece feral, we have allies deal 5% more damage for each debuff placed by the wearer. So again, on feral sets, we're looking for champions ideally with 3 debuffs in their kit, or even more the merrier, right? So a feral has 2 on his A2 and 1 at 100% land rate on his A1. I guess probably one of the best examples in the game of a 9-piece feral set is going to be Rio Bone Spear, because she has all these debuffs, 6 of them on her A2. Now the stun probably won't land, but still, that's a lot of damage escalation, okay? So protection 9-piece, feral 9-piece. If you have a champion that has 2 debuffs and 2 buffs, and you're you don't know which direction to go, ideally you want protection. A good example of this is going to be Bad El Khazar, by the way, right? So Bad El, on his A2, he's got 2 continuous heals and 2 poison debuffs, right? Now, it is on each enemy as well. But the 2 buffs, I mean, those are not going to, unless you have block buffs on your champions, that's going to be guaranteed. Whereas there's an accuracy check, an affinity check, on the poisons. So I would always err, if you're on the fence on a champion, with 2 of each or 3 of each with protection. Okay, next up is going to be, let's just stay with Bad El Khazar, right? In the next category of ways to escalate your damage are champions' passives. okay? Battle Khazar. All allies inflict 20% more damage against targets under poison debuffs. This is an old school champion. This is an original champion in Raid Shadow Legends. This passive has actually given him this interesting curve in terms of meta and viability, where back in the day, he was elite because of his A2 Malice, which is still a good move, right? But now, he dipped down in popularity. He dipped back up, where he climbed back up, rather. Dipped up? Really? Yeah, why not? He dipped up because this is huge damage escalation. 20% more damage is insane, right? So very, very good champ. You see him in speed runs now. You see him in all over the place. So way more than he used to be in Battle Khazar, right? Other examples. There's actually a lot of them now, right? But Glaciad of the Meltwater has it on his... We talked about Feral already having it on his passive. Glaciad of the Meltwater. Allies under Perfect Veil, placed by this champion, deal 10% more damage. Beautiful. Beautiful, right? And this also stacks with protection, for example, right? So you can kind of double dip, right? So that's Glaciad of the Meltwater. Who else? Gerptuk. Of course, we got to talk about Gerptuk. Gerptuk Longbeard was a fusion way back in the day. Anybody remember this guy being a fusion? Any old school players watching this video? He's placing poisons on allies. Those poisons give 7.5% more damage for each poison on them, right? So that's really freaking solid. He has 22.5% extra damage because he brings 3 on his A2 ability, right? So that's really, really, really strong. There's so many others at this point. Ashnar is the one that's in vogue right now with HP burns, but looking for these champions, if you're lucky to have any, with those damage escalators. I want to talk about blessings, guys. I want to talk about specifically... I want to talk about 3 blessings that are my favorite, especially when we're looking at areas like Clan Boss, Hydra Clan Boss, the Chimera Clan Boss, against bosses, right? Now, in the arena, these can be effective as well to a certain extent, but this is PvE oriented right now. And the arena on my nukers, by the way, I like to go generally, I like to go with Soul Reap personally, but everybody's different. Right? Everybody's different. I mean, Rotos is going to have Word of the Fallen. Sometimes if I have a 6-star, I might go Polymorph, right? So every situation is going to be a little bit different depending on the champion. But in PvE, right? In PvE, there's 3 that you need to know about. The 3 best, in my opinion. Nature's Wrath. Nature's Wrath, I think, is the best blessing for damage escalation, provided that your main DPS, your main damage dealer, has debuffs in their kit, right? Let me give you a couple examples. Trunda. Right? Trunda with Nature's Wrath, right? It does not take long. She places burns, okay? It does not take long. I have her at 6-star Awaken, but it's still great even below that, right? Let's just say we had a 5-star or whatever, a 3-star. Increase the damage inflicted by this champion by 2% for every debuff they successfully place, up to 8%. That can go up to 15 at 5, up to 30% extra damage at 6. 30% extra damage on your main nuker, or anybody for that matter, a Venus, right? Anybody with a lot of debuffs is huge. It's huge. So yeah, on a Trunda, my main DPS, on that clan boss, the Chimera record that I just set, personal record, Nature's Wrath. 30% extra damage on Toshiro is nuts. It's millions and millions and millions of extra damage in aggregate over the course of a longer battle. So Nature's Wrath is the first one that you need to know about. The second one you need to know about is Heavencast. Heavencast, increase the damage inflicted by this champion according to the number of buffs on them, okay? Number of buffs on them. So they can get, it scales up from 1% to 1.5 to 2. But even at 0.5, at 1, right? I mean, this is pretty significant because there's no cap, right? So if I have, I don't know, 6 buffs, I can get 3% damage extra even at 1-star, right? Even at 1-star. If I have 6 buffs at all the way at 6, I can get 12% extra damage. Again, that's very significant, especially in a very buff, heavy meta, where oftentimes I'll be running 6, 7, 8, 9, or more, 10 buffs on my champions, just depending on the team that I'm using, right? So think about it this way. We're stacking now protection, extra damage, passives, gear sets, and now we can get damage scaling off of buffs. When do you use this? You can use this on champions like Turvold or Taurus who already have, there's already an inherent reason to build them with more buffs because of their kit. They do more damage on their abilities. Turvold's A3 and Taurus's A3 as well, based on how many buffs they have. But you can run this on your damage dealer when they don't have a debuff for Nature's Wrath, A, or B, on a team that you know you're going to be very, very heavy on buffs the entire battle, okay? And then the third one is not necessarily imperative on your main damage dealer. And I said that I made a little change on my team. It was Cruelty, right? Now, Cruelty, I feel like this is the most obvious change we can talk about in terms of damage escalation. It's super obvious, right? Whenever the champion hits an enemy, decrease their defense until the end of the round, right? Now, this is insane because I forgot what I had on Mikage originally. I think I had like Phantom Touch because I was using her in Fire Knight, okay? But I just ran her with Phantom Touch anyway on my Chimera team. Obviously a big mistake in hindsight. I switched to Cruelty because I have her at 6 stars, right? But again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be your nuker because it's going to decrease the target's defense for everybody. But how did I get that extra 200 million damage? Decrease target's defense by 4% per hit, up to 40% for champions, 20% decreased defense, bosses. That's nasty. I noticed immediately the extra damage I was getting on all of the Chimera forms, right? It escalated very easily, very quickly as well. So, Cruelty. If you have a 6-star support utility who has attacks, damage dealing moves, consider going even a 5-star, right? But this is definitely a blessing that I would look for a 5 or 6-star champion if you have them awakened, okay? All right, so those are 3 amazing, amazing blessings for getting extra damage on your team. All right, this one is so obvious, but I feel like so many players overlook this, and this pertains to everywhere in the game. Meaning, sometimes I want to go really hard on live arena, right? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to go hard on a live arena session. I've been going like not super. How far am I on this, on live arena, this league? How far am I out of the top 100? Oh man, almost double. Golly. Anyway, sometimes I want to get a nice long live arena session, maybe a couple hours, played watching a true crime documentary in the background or something like that, And what do I do first? If I really care, if I'm really trying to min-max everything, I go to the damn Classic Arena and I push up. Why? And it's not about live arena it is about Classic Arena, I guess, but it's about the tiers, right? Keep in mind that these tier bonuses, and this can be the difference in Gold 3 of 18% HP attack and defense, can scale all the way up to 22 or even 25 if you're in Platinum percent. That's a significant difference, especially when you kind of factor in there might be 4 or 5 or 6 champions on your team, right? So we're playing in the margins here. But you might as well climb up to the highest that you can comfortably get to in Classic Arena in preparation for a really big live arena session or a really big, maybe the whole clan's counting on you for a siege or something like that, right? Get those extra stats because Classic Arena tiers apply to everywhere in the game, not just Classic Arena, okay? Now, sticking with the arena theme, another way, wow, Ash, Chimera, thank you. All right, Great Hall, same thing. Right? Obviously, you guys know this, but your affinity bonuses apply everywhere in the game. Even though you farm them in the arena, they can help you out everywhere. So again, I always recommend going accuracy first. Then I personally go crit damage second. Then it's kind of up to you. You can go resist, you can go HP, you can go defense. I save attack for last, okay? Area bonuses, same thing, right? If you're working on a specific area of the game, sure, go in with area bonuses. Keep in mind that Faction Wars Grade 1 applies to Faction Wars Hard 2. So take advantage of those areas and all part of the same tip here, if you will. Obvious stuff, but make sure you're focusing on your faction guardians before you consider champion empowerment or anything like that, right? So make sure you go in, especially with, I kind of slack on my rares, but especially with your epics and your legendaries, work on your faction guardians as well, because those stats will be, incredibly significant, especially as you start to get each faction maxed out. Okay, next up, guys, masteries. Listen, masteries are all important, right? But I want to focus on a couple of my favorites in terms of getting the most damage out of champions. So let's go to Toshiro here for a second here. I'm not saying, actually, Toshiro's a little bit, his build is very specific. Let me go, who do I have, like, really? It doesn't even matter, honestly. I just want to talk about my faves, okay? So, what do we have here? Helm Smasher is obviously going to ignore defense. War Master is going to be used on champions. Generally, you want War Master on your support champions and generally everybody on your team for min-maxing your damage, right? With some caveats that we'll talk about in a moment here. So War Master is going to be everybody with 1 or 2 hitters on their A1 because it has a 60% chance of proccing, right? Giant Slayer is generally going to be for champions that have 3 or more hits on their A1. 3 or more hits, like a Newt, for example, like a Cold Heart, for example. But there are some caveats that would be other considerations for both of those champions, okay? Flawless Execution is when, whether it be Cat's Gaze, whether it be Merciless and Savage Gear, if you're already at the point where you're ignoring a ton of defense already on a champion, maybe it's a champion like Inquisitor Shamil or a champion like Bloodgorge or Mortu Macabre, who already have 100% Royal Huntsman, who already have 100% ignore defense in their ability, then you can go Flawless Execution, right? That extra crit damage might add up to be more damage in aggregate over time in some niche situations. But generally, we're picking War Master for PvE or Giant Slayer for PvE. Once in a while, we'll go Helm Smasher, just depending on the loadout of your champions. Other ones that are important, though, I want to talk about Single Out. Single Out, yes. Very important mastery to understand and to utilize in your... This can be huge, okay? You want to go in with Single Out. Increase damage inflicted to targets with less than 40% HP by 8%. Now listen, it's not going to be possible in every situation, but if you can delay, depending on your clan, strategy, whatever, if you can delay to attack the clan boss, Chimera, Hydra, whatever, right? Demon Lord, delay to when their health is lower, this will make a big overall impact on your damage, on your main damage dealer, okay? Because you know how the clan boss's health works. It just goes down as you work on it, as you chip away with a clan, right? So damage increases, or excuse me, inflicted to targets with less than 40% HP by 8%. You can get 8% extra, right? That's very, very strong. Very strong. So keep that in mind there. Other ones, Bring It Down. Increased damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. It's always going to be the case against bosses. So Bring It Down and Single Out. I mean, that's a lot of damage that you're leaving off the table if you don't get it. Also Methodical. Increase the damage inflicted by this champion's default skill by 2% each time it's used during battles. They're making A1s hit harder and harder and harder in this game. Make sure between Methodical, between Bring It Down, and Single Out, if you wait, this is going to have a massive impact on your overall damage. So don't sleep on these masteries, obviously. All right, there's a lot more masteries to talk about, but I've made a lot of mastery videos, especially on my other channel in the Raid 101 series, so I'll refer you guys to that one. Relics. Oh, man. Relics. This one right here. It's epic, which is the good news, right? It's one of the strongest, if not the strongest, epic relic, accessible relic in the game. Erithi Connoret. Wears damage increases by 1% each time they place a debuff. Stacks up to 30%, right? That is insane. 30% damage escalation is nasty. We can level it up to get extra damage or to increase the percentage that it ramps up. But even at lower levels, it's not that hard to land 30 debuffs, right? It's not that hard to land 30 debuffs over the course of maybe an hour-long battle or half an hour-long battle, right? On these champions that deal debuffs, these damage dealers, these nukers like a Trunda, like, we mentioned a lot of them, Ninja, for example, right? This is one of the strongest relics in the game. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Now, obviously, there's niche relics all over the place, right? I mean, there's been a lot of hubbalub, is that the word? About the Arakan Elixir. What? For good reason, right? I mean, yeah, on the right champion, you can find a relic that will take their damage, like a Calvalax or a Nell, for example, take their damage and almost double it, right? So really pay attention to some of these really key relics, especially the ones in Ithari, Connoret, and Arakan Elixir in niche situations, but especially the whatever, the Connoret. The Connoret. All right. Gear. Listen, you guys know the drill on gear, right? For the most part, right? Merciless is king in Raid Shadow Legends and PvE, right? Getting the chance to decrease the skill's cooldown with all those damage stats on your attack-based damage dealers, with a 35% freaking ignore defense is bonkers. It's nuts. It's insane. It's the best. Even 9-piece Merciless, if you can pull it off, is insane. A champion that I run, or champions that I recommend if you can pull it off in 9-piece, would be a Rhodos or a Sun Wukong, right, as examples. But generally, everybody's going to be very good in these sets. Trying to get my Rhodos in his stuff right now, by the way. Okay, what else? If you don't have that, obviously Savage, Lethal, Cruel, right? The ignore defense sets, damage sets. But let's not forget probably one of the most powerful sets in the game, and that is Zeal. Crit damage plus 20% plus 3% damage for every 25% HP this champion has. So, I mean, 12% extra damage of their full HP. That's huge. It's insane. It's so broken. It's so strong. That's why you see Zeal all over the place in this game.
That's how I roll.
The best damage 2-piece set, albeit very hard to get your hands on. And the last tip might be the most obvious. And that is accuracy. Accuracy. A lot of things we've talked about have been damage escalating based on debuffs. You got to land the debuffs. But beyond that, like look at my Toshiro, I just made him naked, but his accuracy was already pretty low, right? I run an increased accuracy on him or an accuracy aura on the team. I actually run both on him. But if you don't have the accuracy, you're not going to take advantage of not only all of the damage escalation tools that we've talked about in this video, but also if you're not landing your debuffs, it will have a profound impact on your overall damage scores, right? I mean, it's obvious, but it bears repeating because it's a silent killer of damage out there, right? It's something that a lot of players, they sort of neglect inadvertently because it's not obvious. A little green resist pops up on the screen and the debuff doesn't pop up. But especially if you're on auto battle or if there's a million things going on or whatever, sometimes you just don't notice that a lot of your debuffs might be getting resist, or maybe your buff extensions or debuff rather extensions. So make sure you're running enough accuracy for each boss. Now, Hell Hades, I'll link his website. He has a great tool that every boss's required accuracy is listed there for every stage level. So take a moment to make sure you're not slacking on your accuracy. Otherwise, you're missing out on damage. There it is, guys. 10 pieces of tips or advice, strategies that you can employ to min-max your damage. Hopefully you've found this video useful, guys. Like I said, even if you knew all this stuff, I think it'd be a great reminder to somebody like myself watching a video, so hopefully you picked up a thing or two as well. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.